Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down. What's wrong?
What's wrong?
Yeah, what's wrong?
This is what's wrong.
Devil May Cry, one of the greatest action game series of the 2000s era. I remember back when I used to play this game a lot, but I'm referring to the wrong game. What I played as a kid was Devil May Cry, the original, which I don't have the cover for because my friend borrowed it and he hasn't given it back to me. I should probably get back to him on that. But then the game was so popular back in 2001 that it spawned more games. We have Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening, and Devil May Cry 4. You know, having this many games in the series, you kind of wonder, where do we go now? Well, company Ninja Theory decided that, hey, why not, let's remake the game. Yes, the booze. Oh, they're gonna remake Devil May Cry. Oh, the horror. Yeah, they remade Devil May Cry. As much as, you know, all the fanboys and we love Devil May Cry, they remade the series. Now, one thing that is standard about the Devil May Cry series, as you can see from these covers, is Dante has, the main character, has white hair. Now, with the reboot, they decided to redo his hair, redo his personality. Well, not really, but they decided to redo Dante and how he looked, and how his weapons looked, and this kind of didn't get a good reception with most people.
Get it with fire! Get it with fire now! It's ugly! Get it with fire! Get it! No! Get it with fire!
Yeah, the whole kill the fire shtick. Well, is it a bad game? I mean, we can't judge it by its motif. It's covering. Is it at its core? Is DMC Devil May Cry at its core a bad game? Well, why don't we dive into this thing and take a look and see if it, at its core, mechanically, is a bad game.
Yes, let's.
So, Devil May Cry is a hack-and-slash action game with a couple of platforming elements. You have your sword, you can take swipes at enemies, dealing damage until they die. As you progress through the game, you follow a linear path through the levels, and you fight bosses at the end of some levels, not all of them. Each level has its own objective that you have to do, whether it be get to the end of an area, defeat all the enemies in the level, or get to a boss, or retrieve something for someone. To do this, you have to fight your way through hordes of enemies using all the weapons that they provide you with, your angel weapons, your demon weapons. Mechanics that they go through are, since you're Nephilim, you're half angel, half demon, they gear your weapons towards those two sides. So you get red weapons, which, as a mechanic for the game, there are red. Some enemies are red, and you can only kill them with red weapons, such as the axe and the fire fists. The red enemies will light the floor on fire, so you have to have the demon weapon equipped so you don't take damage and keep your streak going. Because the game, as another mechanic, uses a combo system. It's more like a fighting game, where you do combos and you try and keep your enemies in the air as long as possible. And this brings into play the style meter. The style meter has different rankings going from D all the way up to triple S. And as you do combos and as you do keep juggling enemies and keep this combo going, you get more points. As you get more points, you get a higher score, which at the end accumulates. So throughout the game, you get these two grappling hooks, which there'll be red targets and blue targets, and with these targets, you can use for platforming elements and you can grapple to different places. Now, the combat system, in my opinion, has been improved immensely. In previous games, I always felt like getting an S rank was very, like I couldn't get it in my first playthrough. I had to really try, and you had to use every ability, and it just felt really clunky playing through the game trying to get S ranks for your style meter, because you feel really good when you get a triple S rank on your style meter. This game, a lot of people have said that it's easier to gain style in this game, which is inherently true. It is a lot easier to gain style, but it's also, I think, because the combat of the game is a lot more fluid. It flows better, switching between weapons and, you know, hacking and slashing and knocking up into the air and comboing feels a lot better in this game than previous games.
Oh my god, you keep hitting the wrong enemy. Why do you keep hitting the wrong enemy?
Well, that's another downside to this game. In the previous Devil May Crys, you had a lock-on system. You would hold like L1 or R1 and it would lock onto an enemy and you could focus that enemy. This really helps when, you know, you're trying to look at different enemies and switch between different enemies. This one, it doesn't have a lock-on system. Now, at first when I started playing this, I thought this was a bad mechanic. I thought this was the dumbest mechanic ever. It was stupid.
You're right, it was stupid. It was so dumb. I keep hitting wrong enemies and it's just dumb. I hate it.
Well, yeah, I did hit wrong enemies, but it's not that bad because a lot of the weapons you use are AoE, and how the game, like how the mechanics run, a lot of enemies are going to be hitting you, so you use your other weapons. Most of them have AoE abilities that, as you spin, you catch other enemies, and you can further your combo. So having a lock-on system, I think, would get rid of the fluidity of the combat system. Let's talk a little bit about the Devil Trigger.
The Devil Trigger sucks in this game. It's so bad.
Yes. The Devil Trigger in the old game, pretty much you took less damage, you could heal, and you pretty much destroyed everything while keeping your streak going. And you gained a lot more damage. In this game, it kind of just throws all the enemies in the air, you do extra damage, and you get your style meter goes up faster. Personally, I like the other way better, where you get more damage and you're going to go up in the air. But it's not that big of a gameplay change. I did find that I really didn't need Devil Trigger as much as I did in the other games. Like, really, I just use it to heal, which I hope in later games in the reboot that they change it so you feel more, you know, like you're actually destroying your enemies with this awesome Devil Trigger. It could have some improvements, but it's not that bad. And it's a good way for the story to show how Dante gets his white hair. Because in the end, he does get his white hair. And it's because as you progress through the game, you get the Devil Trigger, which throughout the whole game turns his hair white. As you go through the game, you will gain points at the end of each level, and you'll level up, and you'll gain upgrade points. You can spend these upgrade points on different combos, different, you know, powering up your weapons, and doing different combos with your weapons. You can also spend red orbs to gain items, like items that refill your health, increase your health, refill Devil Trigger, increase your Devil Trigger, amount of Devil Trigger you can have, and then yellow orbs, which, you know, can resurrect you when you die. Also, there are skins. A lot of complaints came from Dante doesn't have white hair.
You're right. Dante doesn't have white hair, and I hate it. I can't believe they did that. That is such a betrayal to us fanboys.
Yes, they did. But Capcom has released DLC with a Dante skin from Devil May Cry 3, which, one, is cool because a lot of people like that skin and they like to play with it. Two, I think Ninja Theory is going to go back to the old Dante look in the next game. They're going to redo the third game, because, I mean, they made the model already, so what's stopping them from going on and making Dante back to what he was? So we shall see. I think Dante is gruff and everything because he's breaking out of his shell. So, fear not, I think we're going to get the old Dante back because of this DLC. So, you can play as white-haired Dante and everyone's happy. Let's talk about a little bit about the motif of the game. If you broke down and took away all the graphics and everything, it would just be a hack and slash where the core mechanics would be where you combo moves in order to get a high score and not die. The motif on top of that is what we know as Devil May Cry. It is the story of Dante, and he hunts demons. For the new game, it comes more down to this is like an origin before the origin story of Devil May Cry 3. Before Dante even opens the Devil May Cry store that everyone knows from the series, and he's kind of lost in this world, and he doesn't know what to make of his powers or where he's from, and he has to, in the end, defeat the demon lord Mundus, who imprisoned his father and killed his mother. So he has throughout the game, he has a lot of choices that he has to make, and I feel the game really does capture his emotional levels of what he has to go through. Unfortunately, there's a very controversial scene in the game where Virgil, Dante's twin brother, kills Mundus's the woman who's carrying Mundus's spawn, Lilith, and is basically killing a baby. And it's been talked about for a lot. When I recommend the game to people, I recommend that you go in with an open mind, but it's a very shocking scene, and very surprising that it actually happened. You can see it happen, you can see it coming, but it's very surprising. The boss battles are very unique, very cool. Like this one, you go inside and you have to fight a demon news reporter, and you go inside him and he's like this computerized, TV world inside, and you go inside of him and you get onto this news thing. You have to fight enemies, as you see here, in like what looks like a news, like you're on it being shot by a news chopper. It's a very cool mechanic, very cool boss fights. That is I think that the news one is my favorite boss fight. Very cool, very creative. The whole world and atmosphere of the whole game is very creative. The whole limbo transforming around you, trying to stop you, and being synced with the real world, I think that is very cool. And they did a really good job nailing like the art style and this cool, really building this world that for us to be in for this new Devil May Cry. And that I believe that is a very, very good start when you're trying to build a new series. There is a lot of replayability to this game, well, one with the collectibles, two, that Ninja Theory and Capcom have been coming out with a lot of DLC. The first one that they released was for free, and it's the Bloody Palace, which has been in previous Devil May Cry games. It's basically a challenge mode where you go through levels, defeating hordes of mobs, and trying to get to the highest level and get the highest score possible that you can get. Now, they're also, when they release for pre-order, they're going to release in March a pre-order content, which was Virgil's downfall, which tells Virgil's side of the story that we didn't actually get to see before Dante even comes into the picture, which will be very interesting to see. Other replayability is, as I said, there's besides the starting 3 difficulties, there's, I believe, 4 more difficulties after the starting 3. And each one gets progressively harder, and even some have very interesting twists to them. Like Heaven or Hell mode is every enemy dies in one hit, but you die in one hit. And then after that, there's even Hell in Hell mode, where, you die in one hit, but all the enemies take normal damage, which just adds that much more skill to it. I haven't even gotten to these levels yet, and I'm still on Dawn They Must Die mode. Like it's crazy how all these levels are just so hard, but it gives lots of replayability to the game. Now, coming down to it, it is a solid game. There's good core mechanics. The graphics are very good. The world is immersive. It gets you into it. The story is good. I mean, the dialogue, yes, it's not like the Devil May Cry dialogue, where it's witty comments and everything. But like I said, Dante's coming out of his shell. He's going to be a little gruff. He's going to, they're playing him as a rebel. And they do a very good job at that. So, overall, the only really gripes I have with it is the lock-on system, and, that's about it. I mean, and some of the themes. But overall, I give the game an 8 out of 10. They did a very good job of it, keeping to the story. Yes, some things are changed, but it is still a very good game, and the mechanics are there, and they're very good. So I give this game an 8 out of 10. And it is if you like Devil May Cry, it's for me, and to you, I think it's a must-buy. It's a very good game and very well made.
See, this game wasn't so bad now, was it? Wasn't that bad. Yes, there's a lot of controversy over the look of Dante, but the core mechanics are sound, with a little bit of problems. I mean, just a little bit of problems. And we address those, and they don't make the game unplayable. The game's still fun, the story is fun, and it makes sense. There's some mature, like it says on the rating, M, mature themes, but it's a solid game. A solid game that is worth $60. A lot of other people, everyone says, oh, other sources gave it, like IGN and GameSpot gave it like a 9 out of 10, even some even gave it a 10 out of 10. Everyone said no, because it's different. People don't like change, but sometimes change is for the better. Right, fanboy?
No, I don't think so. I miss old Dante. Tall, cracking wise cracks. Cracking humor without profanity and vulgarity. I miss everything about him. He was perfect. Perfect in every way with his silver hair and everything. And they just ruined it. They ruined everything. Why do they have to ruin everything?
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think he'd agree with me. But, well, this is Fanboy and me. Till next time.